Hey, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome indeed. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCDI, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley, and we are so glad that you decided to join us this morning. We appreciate it. Our show, Eye on the Valley, if this is your first time, is brought to you, like I said, by SCDI and I Lead Charter Schools. We're a network of charter schools. When I say charter, you say free. Charter! Yeah, folks always ask me, that's the first question they ask. So how much is your charter school? No, misnomer, friends. Charter schools are free. Public schools, I won't get into the whole spiel, but we've got campuses right here in Castaic, and when I say Castaic, you say free. No. Folks always find out our founding school, SCDI, is in Castaic, and they say, ooh, Castaic, that's way up there. No, it's not. It's right off the 126 and the 5. It actually, when we first moved in, folks were calling it Valencia, but it's technically Castaic, but it's right there off of Newhall Ranch Road. We've also got campuses in Agua Dulce, in Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school. We've got a home study program that's just growing like gangbusters. In fact, I just spoke with somebody this morning before the show, and their wait list is a mile long. But yeah, we've got a lot of different formats of schools, and that's because kids don't all learn the same way. If you've got children, if you've got more than one child, you know that they're different. They learn different. They have different needs, and so we've got 7 or 8 different programs depending on the needs of the learner. So you know what? Just head over to ileadschools.org while you're listening to the show. Of course, you can peruse our website and check out any one of our several schools and programs. Again, that's ileadschools.org. Check us out and see which program is best for your child or children. So yeah, we keep our eye on education, absolutely, both here in Santa Clarita and across the nation. But like the show says, we also like to keep our eye on the valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the valley. I like to say that we try to do so while putting a smile on your face. We have some giggles, some chuckles, and we end the show with some just downright tomfoolery, darn it. And as a matter of fact, keeping our eye on the valley, we're keeping both eyes on the valley this morning. We've got a whole lot going on the show regarding what's happening in and around Santa Clarita. So we'll get to that in just a minute. But I'm looking out the window right now, and it's a little hazy, little overcast, but the sun is burning through. It's going to be an absolutely beautiful weekend. Springtime in Awesome Town is never a bad thing. We've got the Cowboy Festival coming up this weekend here in downtown Newhall. Everybody's sprucing things up. They're putting on their denim and plaid, and it's just going to be a perfect weekend for it. So if you've got time this weekend, Saturday or Sunday, mosey on over to Hart Park. Starting at 10 a.m., they've got all kinds of stuff. Going to be an absolutely hog-killing time. We don't have time for that right now, but maybe we'll get into it a little bit later on in the show, because it just blew my mind when I saw how much they've got going on at the Cowboy Festival this weekend. But before that kicks up, we've got a great show for you here on Eye on the Valley. In just a moment, you'll meet Nikki Buxted. She is CEO of the Child and Family Center of Santa Clarita. And in hour number 2, we've got your local member of the California State Assembly, Pilar Schiavo, with us. So we're looking forward to that. And yes, like I said, we're going to end the show like we always do with Big T. He's got trivia. He's got some horsing around. It's just always a lot of fun. And it's a selfish opportunity for me to goof off and play around and insult my brother on the air. So let's go ahead and get to it. Pour yourself that extra cup of coffee. Relax a little bit. It's Friday morning. We're sliding into an absolutely amazing weekend. So let's do that together. Like I said, my first guest today is CEO of the Child and Family Center of Santa Clarita, Nikki Buxted. She brings a bachelor's degree in social work and master's in psychology and over 25 years of experience in nonprofit leadership and management to the Child and Family Center. She's deeply committed to enhancing the well-being of children and families. Nikki's strategic vision drives the organization's mission to provide comprehensive mental health services to the community, emphasizing accessibility and inclusivity. Through her leadership, she fosters collaboration among staff and stakeholders, promoting innovation and best practices in mental health care delivery. Nikki is also dedicated to advocacy efforts, working tirelessly to raise awareness and reduce stigma surrounding mental health issues. Her unwavering dedication and passion inspire others to join the mission of improving lives and building stronger communities. Nikki, welcome to Eye on the Valley. How are you this morning?
I'm great. Thanks so much, Matt. Great introduction.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So let's
Yeah.
jump right into this. As I say Child and Family Center, I've been familiar with the center for decades. I was mentioning to you before the show, my mother's been deeply involved in the center, and I've got several friends who have been for a long, long time. But there's got to be somebody
Fantastic.
out there that isn't quite as familiar with the Child and Family Center. So can you share your mission and vision for the Child and Family Center?
Yeah, thanks, for sure. So the mission of the Child and Family Center is to change lives, heal relationships, and help people thrive. That is at the core and the center of what we're trying to do with not just those who walk into our center for services, but for the entire community. And our vision really is to strengthening families today for stronger communities tomorrow, to build a resilient community so that, kids can navigate life in a really healthy way and make good decisions and make good choices. And when challenges come up for them, that they know that they can ask for help and that there's someplace to go.
Yeah, so important to have
Yeah.
an organization like that in every community. Now, I
Yeah.
know the center's been serving families here in the Valley, for over 4 decades. Can you give us a little bit of a history of the organization, its background, how it was founded, and then how it's grown over the years?
Yeah, sure. So we were founded in 1976 by two women, Liz and Carol, who were really concerned about children having access to behavioral health support and services. So they opened a preschool that was dedicated for kids that were struggling in the classroom because of behavioral health and mental health issues. And, it was very well known and really worked well with the schools and the parents and the teachers. And we were really able to, from there, just continue to expand and grow and bring in contracts from the LA County Department of Mental Health and Department of Children and Family Services so that we could really start providing intensive services to families and to the kids. And from there, it's just continually growing. And in 2001, we moved into our own beautiful facility off of Center Point Parkway. And the day that the staff and everybody moved in, it was already full. And at that point, it was about maybe 20,000 square feet. And so several years later, an addition was built on. And so now our main campus is about 32,000 square feet. And then we have an education building also that's about 5,000 square feet. So we've really just been able to expand to serve more of the community. The folks that we're serving in the community are on Medi-Cal. They are either uninsured or underinsured. So we're really able to help and support the most vulnerable in our community that have the least amount of resources available to them. And, we, to this day, continually get calls from all of our partners and parents and, teenagers that are looking for help and support.
Wow, it is terrific, and I've been in your new building. You're right; it is absolutely beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
so you talk about just providing an area that's safe for folks to get the support that they need. Can you talk
hmm
specifically about what kind of services you do provide at the Child and Family Center?
Yeah, so we really focused on three main things: mental health services, drug and alcohol treatment, and domestic violence services. So our mental health services really are from ages 0 up to transitional age youth, which they call about 24 years old. But it's not just providing those children or teen mental health services. It really is including the entire family and the caregivers, right? So we have a lot of children that are coming to us that are living with their grandparents or are in foster care. And so we're able to bring in the entire family to help provide those wraparound services. And that's really critical and key. We see this as, a family dynamic that, you have to treat not just the person that's having the challenge, but also the entire family on how to best cope and manage and have a really great household where everybody feels valued and cared for. So we do that both with our children and teen mental health services. And we actually have an intensive field-based department too that goes into the families' homes and provides that really intensive wraparound case management, therapeutic services, which is really for those kids that are really struggling and could be the last-ditch effort before they're actually removed from the home. So as you can imagine, that is pretty intense. We also have our psychiatry services as part of our mental health services as well. So we have 4 psychiatrists. They're fantastic. They've been with us for a long time, and they work in partnership and in collaboration with our clinicians. So our PhDs, our marriage family therapists, and our licensed clinical social workers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, well, go ahead if you had a question.
Well, I was going to say, I know firsthand the high quality of psychiatrists and counseling staff you have. My family and I were having some issues a few years back, and we reached out, and your team was instrumental in just being so supportive, providing the guidance we needed. It's so important. Nikki, I want to combine my next 2 questions here.
Sure.
Because I wanted to ask about how great the need is in the community, but it sounds like it's tremendous. Your brand new facility, which is a rather large facility, you said was full on day one. So as you continue to grow, what plans have you got as you're looking toward the future, and what are your immediate goals?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, it's not just the mental health services that we provide. And now we have a, more square footage to provide those services and have more staff to do that. But we've since brought in our drug and alcohol treatment program, which is outpatient for anyone that's ages 12 and over. So we have one program that's for 12 to 17 years old, and then another program that's 17 to 65. And again, that's for anyone that's on Medi-Cal, uninsured or underinsured. All of this information can be found on our website and how to find out more or even get enrolled. And then, of course, we added our domestic violence program several years ago as well, too. We merged with the Santa Clarita Domestic Violence Program, and with that, we provide intensive case management services. We have a 24-hour hotline, and we have our domestic violence 30-day emergency shelter, the only domestic violence program in all of Santa Clarita Valley. So you can imagine adding on those programs has, been a challenge in terms of providing space. And so, the need is great, especially when you're talking about all 3 of those different services that we can provide, whether it is mental health or whether it's domestic violence or drug treatment. We get calls every single day for people asking, what do I do? How do I get enrolled? What are the costs? What are the fees? And the great thing is if, you are on Medi-Cal, uninsured or underinsured, these are free services that we are providing to the community. And we serve thousands of people every year. The most recent data I actually have is from February. So in February, we served 966 individual clients, right? So that's 966 clients that all had different names.
And that's in February alone?
That's in February alone.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Yeah, and then we provided more than 4,400 services in February. So those would
Wow.
be things like the mental health therapy, the counseling groups, the group therapy, the case management services for domestic violence for mental health. So 966 is a lot, but then
Yeah.
when you talk about how many services we're actually providing in a month, and then when you look at an entire year, it's absolutely incredible. It just goes to show we have such a dedicated staff that are
Mm,
you know experts in the work that they're doing, committed to
yeah.
best practices and providing excellent care. And we have over 150 staff people, so there's a lot of people that we have working for us to do this amazing work as well.
Yeah, your staff truly is amazing. I can imagine, Nikki, that providing the types of services that y'all do at the Child and Family
Hmm.
Center, it's got to be very richly rewarding at times, but it can also,
Hmm.
I'm guessing, be very emotionally taxing. Is it rough on
Yeah.
staff from time to time?
One of our main focuses and goals over the last year has really been focusing on self care, staff self care, and
Okay,
making
good.
sure that there are activities and things to participate within the organization, as well as having excellent supervisors and managers to be there to help support staff during challenging times. Yes, as you can imagine, listening to heavy conversation and discussion all day long with clients you're trying to help and support and serve through our programs. But it can be a little taxing, of course.
Yeah.
But clinicians come in with also understanding how to manage themselves and the work that they're doing around that. But we do things like ice cream socials. We have a walking challenge coming up next month. We have on-site staff events. So there's a lot that we really do to help support the staff through, engagement activities.
Fantastic. And Nikki, you mentioned
Yeah.
that what most people ask you when you're talking about their services is how they get enrolled. So how do
Hmm.
people
Yeah.
enlist the help of the center?
Yeah. Great question. I mean, it's really easy. You can go to childfamilycenter.org, and there's a little orange button on the side of our website that says Get Help Now. You can click on that and complete the information. If you might not have a computer or a laptop or something like that, or it's challenging to access the computer, you can always call our main line number, which is 661-259-9439. And then you can also show up to our organization and talk to the front desk staff and ask them what types of services, how do they qualify, and how would they get started. So we try to make it as simple as possible for folks to be able to access our services. And we also still provide a small amount of hybrid services too. So if we are, working with a family where child care might be an issue, or the parent is working 2 or 3 jobs, and taking that time off of work to get their kid over for services is an issue, we can always offer those online services for the older kids. Younger kids, for mental health, they need to be seen one-on-one in person.
Okay, fantastic. Nikki
Hmm.
Buckstead, CEO of the Santa Clarita Child and Family Center, joins me this morning. Nikki, you and your team provide an incredibly valuable service to our community, but that's not all that you're known for. Y'all put on some pretty amazing events in and around town throughout the year, and your
Yeah.
signature event is coming up here real soon. When we get back, I want to talk
Hmm.
to you about it and get people information on how they can attend. Because I got to tell you, Nikki, this is probably one of my favorite events in the community every year. You're going to hear
We
more
hear
about
that
it.
all the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's an amazing event. What a beautiful idea. But we'll talk more about it when we get back. I am Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station. 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm speaking this morning with Nikki Buckstead, the CEO of the Santa Clarita Child and Family Center. They're doing amazing work to support folks dealing with mental health, addiction, domestic violence, doing all kinds of incredible stuff. Nikki, thank you again for joining us this morning.
Absolutely.
One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you this morning is about this event that y'all are putting on in town. You've got a lot of what sound like really fun events. I see Purple Palooza is on your website, but I want to get right
Hmm.
to this event that you've got coming up here in May. Let's talk about Taste of the Town. You've been
Yes,
the
let's talk about Taste of the Town.
Absolutely. The Child and Family
Yeah.
Center has been hosting this event for quite a while. Nikki, I remember
Yeah.
going to Taste of the Town when I was, I think, still in high school, maybe a little bit older. But how long has the
Okay.
event been going on? What's the history and what's the event all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is our 35th annual Taste of the
35th
Town,
annual, yeah.
and we're, super excited. It's just amazing that we've been able to do it year after year after year, and it just continues to get more support. It's always surprising to me when people that have lived here for quite a while haven't heard of Taste of the Town.
Right.
And, a lot of people think that the city actually puts this event on. And then they're, kind of surprised to find out that it's a nonprofit fundraising event. And, we kind of take pride in the fact that they think that the city puts it on. That just tells you how well run the event is. So we are hosting it again out at Blomgren Ranch. It'll be held on May 5th. So it's always the first Sunday of May.
Oh,
Doesn't
okay.
matter what day it is. It's just always the first Sunday in May. So you can mark your calendars for it every single year.
All
This
right.
year it happens to fall on Cinco de Mayo. So
There we
it's,
go.
it's every year it's going to be a great party. Um, yeah, so we expect about over 1,000 people at this event,
Wow.
and yeah, it's amazing. And that doesn't even include all of the food exhibitors and our volunteers that are there. This takes a lot of volunteers to put on, as you can imagine, with that many people in attendance.
Yeah, gosh, and I know over the years y'all have held it at some beautiful venues. I believe,
Hmm.
and Nikki, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you know, like you said, it's been going on 35 years. I think years ago, it was held at the Newhall Mansion out in Peru, correct?
I mean, that's certainly possible. I wasn't here for that, but you're,
I
but,
think that was one
but
of the
you're,
first events out there. I've attended Taste of the Town up at the water agency up above Central
yes,
Park. It was out
yep.
at the Valencia industrial area
Hmm.
for a few years. And
Yeah.
tell me again, where's it going to be this year?
It's yeah, for sure. It's going to be at Blomgren Ranch. It's a beautiful setting, and if you were there last year, folks were there last year. You'll remember we had the giant stage where
Yeah.
Mark Levang and friends did our fantastic music for the entire event. There'll be obviously plenty of seating and umbrellas. So if it's a little warm or even if it's a little drizzly, everyone's covered.
Yeah, because weather can be an issue sometimes in the spring.
Yeah,
But let's keep
absolutely.
our fingers crossed for a beautiful Cinco de Mayo where folks can enjoy
Yes.
Taste of the Town. And you mentioned how surprising it is. Some folks haven't heard of the event or
Hmm.
attended. For those who haven't been there before, what can they expect? Can you talk about kind of the way folks are going to be breaking their diet?
Yeah, that's for sure going to happen. Absolutely. Uh, so, so we have over 40 food exhibitors at this event,
Wow.
and some of these folks have been doing this for year over year over year,
Hmm.
and so they're in it. They know the drill, and it's all different kinds of food. So we'll have barbecue, we'll have Indian food. Wolf Creek Restaurant will be there. Salt
Mm,
Creek will be there. We'll
all
have a
right.
lot of tasty goodies from Jill's and Susie B's. Um, Newhall Press Room will be there. Presta Pasta. I mean, I could just go down the list, but you can imagine all of the food vendors and wine and beer vendors are actually listed on our website,
Okay.
tasteofthetown.com. And, it's one ticket price that gets you access to all of this. And which is kind of amazing because you're not going to get that anywhere else,
Right.
right? Some people have their favorites that they like to go back to. Other people just kind of want to graze and go through all 40 of the different exhibitors. And we're so grateful for them because, they show up, they do such hard work, and they're here to also support the community and Child and Family Center too.
Yeah, and
It's
Nikki, you're
fantastic.
right about that. I happen to know from experience that yeah, you can hit all the different uh, you can hit all the different exhibitors and
Hmm.
sample everything, or you can go back to the same booth over and over and over
Yes.
and over. Again,
You
personal
can.
experience. If you find a favorite, just stick to it. But I do like to spread it
Yeah.
out a little bit. I like to hit the three B's, right? I like to get some
Yeah.
brisket, some brownies, and some beer, and it's just
There you
a
go.
phenomenal event. And like you said, your one ticket price covers anything. And again, something I might have a little bit of experience with, as much as you'd like. So
Yeah, absolutely. And you can get tickets on our website,
there you go.
tasteofthetown.com. The VIP tickets are $150. They get you access to everything that we just talked about and so much more. The VIP tickets include being able to come in early, so you can show up an hour earlier, 1 to 5 p.m. is your ticket for VIP.
Mhm.
Get you in before other people, get you a little bit better parking, and then you also get seated at a table that has an umbrella. So we
Yeah.
definitely encourage people to buy those VIP tickets. And then we also have general admission tickets as well that get you in at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
You still get access to the same food and beer and wine as everybody else does as well. And available to everyone that shows up, you're going to be able to get, we're going to have a raffle,
Mm.
and we're going to have Princess Cruises there. We'll have raffling off a condo in Cabo and a condo in
Ooh.
Kona. So we have a lot of great things and experiences for all of the attendees.
Yeah, I love that all of the different features are open to everybody. But yeah, for
Hmm.
$150, that is not a bad price for those VIP
Yeah.
tickets. Like you said, you get in early, you get a little bit preferred parking, and then you just,
Hmm.
as all your friends are rolling in, you're already kicking back at that umbrella table, and it just does feel like the full VIP experience. You mentioned you've
Yeah.
got raffles, some great prizes. Do you have
Hmm.
auction items this year? I know you've had some silent auction items that have been
Yes,
fantastic in
we
the past.
will. Those will be available too. We'll have a couple tables set up with all of those there. I know that the volunteers are hard at work putting all of those baskets and things together. So, make sure when you're at the event that you go by there and you can see what's available to be able to get those great auction items.
Yeah, you've got some fantastic partners in the community that I know donate
Hmm.
some incredible items every year
Yes.
that I try to fly under the radar in the silent auction and get some stuff for kind of a steal. Um, and
It's the
then
best way to do it.
yeah, there you go. And then you've also
Yeah.
got some entertainment that goes on
Yes.
there. Talk a little bit
Yeah,
about the
Mark.
entertainment.
Yeah, every year we're so grateful to have Mark Levang and friends come out and his band. And these are recording artists. These aren't people that are playing music in their garage for fun. These are the consummate professionals.
Mm.
They sound fantastic. They really bring so much energy and liveliness. And last year, people were dancing on the dance floor. It was so fun to see.
Yeah.
And they do just such a great job. And again, this year, we're bringing Chris Schiavo back. He'll be our MC
Nice.
from KTLA, who's our major media sponsor. So he does such a fantastic job for us, too, every time.
Fantastic. And again, folks can get more information about all of the services you provide, as well as this amazing event, Taste of the Town, at childfamilycenter.org. And then I know you've got to go here pretty quickly, Nikki.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of interesting stuff on your website. Folks can donate.
Hmm.
I know you need supplies. You've got a wish list here on your website.
Yes.
If folks can't get to the event on May 5th, uh, they can head to the website because it really is just a beautiful cause. Nikki, you and your team providing such valuable services. Again, folks can get connected to your services if they're experiencing addiction, mental health crises, domestic violence. Check them out at childfamilycenter.org. And then again, get to Taste of the Town. You're not going to want to miss it. Get some great food, some drink, entertainment, all for one low price. And hey, you and your family deserve it. Splurge for that VIP ticket. Nikki, thank you so much for your time. I know you're very busy this morning. We appreciate you stopping by. Have a great weekend.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt.
Of course, you take care. Again, Nikki Buckstead, CEO of Santa Clarita Child and Family Center. We appreciate everything that their team is doing. It's going to be an amazing event. Again, why don't you head on over to childfamilycenter.org. I always want to say and. It's called Child and Family Center, but their website doesn't have the and, just makes it 3 characters shorter, right? Childfamilycenter.org and check out their events. If you've never been to Taste of the Town, Jen, have you ever been to Taste of the Town?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, it is. I got to tell you, I like to ride with some friends, or
Yeah.
or maybe I know we're a school-based show, but I'll maybe Uber to the event because, well, let's just say I
I'm
have
reading
too many
between the
brownies
lines.
sometimes.
Yeah.
It is just a fantastic event.
It sounds fun. I like the
And
idea of the umbrella. You pay just a little bit more for VIP. You get in
oh,
earlier, but the
right.
umbrella is huge. That's
Oh,
great.
absolutely, especially early May, right?
Yeah.
When you don't really know
You
what the
never
weather's going to be
know.
like.
Yeah.
I've been at Taste of the Town when it has been a little bit drizzly. We've been grateful for that umbrella. I've been there when it's, because Cinco de Mayo can also be a scorcher.
Right.
I've been there when it's been hot and sunny, and it is really, really nice to be able to go out, to grab a glass of wine and some snacks, and then kick back, and
Yeah.
then you just kind of watch the kind of glitterati of Santa Clarita mix and mingle, and then of course the band starts up, and you start dancing. I've got a fun fact for you. I mentioned that in the early days of the event, Taste of the Town, it was held out at the Piru Mansion. Ruth Newhall was actually a very, very gracious hostess, but our very own Jerry Sarati Goldman chaired Taste of the Town when it was out there at the Piru Mansion. Very involved. The ownership of KHTS, very involved in the event. They're always
That's
always
nice.
giving back. But it was a beautiful venue. But I think the venue, in several aspects, kind of outgrew
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
mansion. But it's still just an absolutely incredible event. So again, I would encourage you to get your tickets, get them early. Nikki said they're expecting over 1,000 people, but those tickets sell out. They do, as you can imagine, an opportunity to sample food from I think she said over 40 providers.
40 different vendors. Yeah.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
from around the city, and I want to correct you. They're not vendors because they're not selling stuff.
Oh,
They're just,
okay.
yeah, the folks from the different restaurants and
40 exhibitors, maybe.
wineries and
Yeah.
breweries
Okay.
around town. They're just giving it away.
That's a good point. I
And
like that.
it's,
Okay.
yeah, and when you've got a food and beverage event and Frogger and Big T roll in, and you're just handing things out for free, you're gonna
Yeah.
take a beating. But
Yeah. Call for backup.
there we go. There we go.
We're going to need more.
So
That's a good problem to have. I like it.
that is coming up in just a couple of weeks. Once again, the Santa Clarita Child and Family Center Taste of the Town on May 5th. We've got KHTS's Home and Garden Show coming up here real soon at Central Park. And when we get back, I'm going to talk about an incredible event we've got coming up this weekend. What plans have you got going on Saturday and Sunday? Well, I'll tell you what, this town is going to be absolutely lit up in denim and plaid this weekend. You're not going to want to miss out. And there's all different kinds of stuff. We'll talk about that when we get back. I am Matt Watson. You're listening to SCDI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, your host, and you are listening to SCDI and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. We just spoke with Nikki Buckstead. She is the CEO of the Child and Family Center of Santa Clarita. They're putting on an amazing event coming up here. I believe it's in 2 weekends. May 5th, to be exact, is the date of the Taste of the Town. And if you missed the segment, well, if you missed the segment, where you been? 1. 2, okay, fine, we'll forgive you as long as you do your penance and go to hometownstation.com and check out the podcast. You can check out today's episode of Eye on the Valley or any of the previous episodes of Eye on the Valley on hometownstation.com. Check out the podcasts, and you can see all about, or hear all about the exciting things that the Child and Family Center have got coming up for you at their Taste of the Town event on May 5th. Just food, drink, auction items, raffle items, entertainment, dancing, music. It's just an amazing, amazing event. One of my favorite events of the year, but it is springtime and it seems like we've got something every weekend that is just it's like walking, like a 6-year-old walking through Disneyland as you're walking through the events calendar of Santa Clarita in the spring. You just, everywhere you turn your head, wow, that's amazing. Wow, that's amazing. As a matter of fact, next weekend, we've got one coming up. These next two events, I love their websites have a countdown because
Oh,
this is
that's
something that
fun.
folks
Yeah.
are getting ready for, so excited about. So the annual, this is the 13th annual KHTS Home and Garden Show, is coming up here next weekend. I'm looking here at the countdown. It is 8 days, 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 1 second away. Super excited about it. There's going to be all kinds of exhibits at the Home and Garden Show out there at Central Park in Saugus. Saugus, gosh, it's the hub of the community. It's just the greatest part of town to be in. I happen to be a little bit partial. It's kind of right across the street from my place there at
Oh, okay.
Central Park.
Are you going to try and
But
stop
there's
by?
not try, Ann. I'm going to
Oh,
be
okay,
living there
good.
that weekend.
All right, good.
Yeah, there's going to be food trucks and did you hear the commercial? They're going to have a butterfly
The
tent.
butterfly tent. I know. I want to bring my daughter by.
Yeah.
I think she'll enjoy that.
It's going to be great. They've got all different kinds of events. There's going to be, local politicians in town. There's going to be the emergency. They're going to bring out the Jaws of Life.
Jaws of life.
They're going to have
Nice.
a vehicle that they're going to rip apart with the Jaws of Life. There's also going to be food tasting out there as
Yeah.
well. So kind of get warmed up for Taste of the Town, right? So I'm going to do a little bit of exercise. Go out to the Home and Garden Show and expand my stomach a little bit. Yeah, because it needs the help, right?
And the Corvette Club will be there as well.
Corvette, gosh, yeah, that's worth
For
it
all
right
all
there.
the car nuts out there. That'll be fun.
Yeah, and there's going to be handcrafted items, and it's, we had Carl Goldman, co-owner of the station, here on the show a couple weeks ago talking about the Home and Garden Show, and I asked him who the event is kind of targeted for, and he said is absolutely everybody. Bring the babies,
Yeah.
bring the kids, bring grandma, bring great grandpa. There's stuff for everybody out there. It's just a great weekend to spend in the park. I hear that Carl's guaranteeing an absolutely beautiful weather weekend. So I don't know how he does that, but it's going to be great. April 27th and 28th at Central Park, 10 to 5 p.m. on Saturday, 10 to 4 p.m. on Sunday. I know the entire KHTS crew's out there. So
We
if
will
you
all
want
be
to,
there. And the event is free.
the event, yeah,
The
absolutely.
event is free, which is a huge, huge part of it. Yeah.
Right,
It's wonderful.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The crafters you should bring some
Bring
way
a
of
couple of
payment
bucks if
for
you wanna-
that.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
see crafters
and
and
the
you
food
enjoy what they're
trucks and
doing in
things
the
like
food
that.
trucks. But the event to get in is free.
Yeah, and I think everybody's got those little tap
Yeah.
cards and things like
Yeah.
that. So you bring your
Yeah.
debit card or bring some cash. But yeah, like you said, the event is totally free. And you know what else is totally free? I hear, this is worth the price of free admission. Anyways, you can stop by and twist Engineer Andrew's mustache. um, so that'll be a lot of fun.
That's better than a dunk tank or a
Right?
pie to the face. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, sometimes he insists that you twist
He
it,
wants
right?
you to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So again, that is April 27th and 28th out at Central Park. But this weekend, we've got another countdown coming up, and right now my website says 1 day, 1 hour, and 8 minutes left until we kick off the City of Santa Clarita Cowboy Festival. Although there are some pre-cowboy events going on this evening, we take a Saturday and Sunday event and kind of stretch it out. It's kind of hubbed around Hart Park here in downtown
Okay.
Newhall. A beautiful locale for it. I'm talking about April 20th and 21st. That's tomorrow and Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, at William S. Hart Park. But there's a lot of stuff going on around town that's affiliated to the Cowboy Festival, and there's just all kinds of stuff. And Jen, another event that is free of charge.
Oh, nice.
They've got all different kinds of stuff and so many different entertainment events. They've got 3 different stages. So I just want to hit the 3 stages here real quick to let you know some of the events that are going to be there. The main stage, and this one's funny. Maine, Mane, like the
Ah, yes.
yeah.
Getting.
So the main stage has Matt Axton, Hooks and the Huckleberries. Boy, if that ain't a good old
That's
country and
cute. I
western
like
band.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got Water Tower and then Sarah Winchester. Sarah Winchester is a remarkably talented singer. She's just absolutely incredible if you haven't seen her. And then at Hart Hall, they've got Olivia Harms, Doug Figs, Sourdough Slim. Sourdough Slim and his
All right.
accordion, just a phenomenal, fun entertainer. So exciting. Kristen Harris and Dave Stamey. But the place to be is I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it. The place to be at the Cowboy Festival this year is gonna be the Whistle Stop Stage.
Okay.
That's so at the Whistle Stop Stage, they've got the storytellers, the Messick family singers. This entire family, so incredibly talented. Hillary Klug, she plays the fiddle and just it sets it on fire. Not literally, but then we got Sweet Meg and Rachel Brooke. But there a couple of pieces of inside information. The Whistle Stop Stage is going to be right next to the Lucky Luke Brewery tent.
Perfect.
So, right, you
Perfect.
just kind of
That was smart.
mosey on up and grab yourself a Lucky Luke Brewery or a beer and hang out at the Whistle Stop Stage and check out these 5 amazing acts. All these acts, by the way, going to be there Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And then I do hear that they're going to have the most ridiculous and fun MC on the Whistle Stop Stage this weekend. So that'll be lots of fun.
All right.
Yeah, Frogger might be out there on the Whistle Stop Stage.
Ah, that's what I was waiting for. All
There
right,
you
good.
go.
All right.
Yeah, the city of Santa Clarita has asked me
Wonderful.
to MC the Whistle Stop Stage at the Cowboy Festival this weekend, so I will be out there. Big T's trying to get me in some chaps and some denim, and so we'll
That's
see
a good
what
look.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not, Jen. It is not. Knock it off.
Well, I like that obviously they have food and entertainment. They also have
Yeah.
things to do. I'm looking at their website now. They've got blacksmiths there to
Yep.
kind of do a demonstration for you. Rides and attractions. There's going to, of course, you can't have a cowboy festival without a mechanical bull on site.
You got to ride the
So
bull.
we have that. Just have a couple of drinks and then try your hand at that. Although they probably don't recommend that. Hatchet throwing, inflatable archery.
There we go. Have a
trick
few beers and
roper.
throw an axe. Yeah.
It's just a lot of line dancing. Of course, you have to have that.
Well, and they've got line dancing lessons.
Oh, that'd be
So
fun.
yeah,
All right.
that's going to be a lot of fun. It's so all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I mentioned we've got some pre-cowboy festivities today, actually starting right after the show, 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. out at Rancho Camulos Museum. That's out there on Telegraph
Oh,
Road.
right.
You might know it as Highway 126.
126.
For $50, they've got California Fiesta del Rancho Camulos. And so yeah, you can head out there and get your cowboy on early. The Newhall Family Theater has got Cowboy Family Night tonight. That's from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Newhall Family Theater right there on Walnut Street. Very economical, $10 for adults, $5 for kids. They've only got 500 tickets, though, so you're going to want to get them as soon as possible. For all of the events and everything going on, check it out at cowboyfestival.org. So, yeah, that's up there at the Newhall Theater. And then there's going to be a motion picture tour at Melody Ranch. That's going to take place tomorrow, Saturday. What else have we got going on? Oh, you know the big I do that they do at the city, at City Hall every
Yes.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
A bunch of folks get married. They're doing it again for the first time ever at the Cowboy Festival. So if you want to get hitched, right? If you want to get hitched on April 20th, that's tomorrow. Bring your sweetheart
That's
out.
cute. I like that idea.
And the city will marry you. So that's the big I
You
do.
have to wear a denim wedding dress to do it.
There you go. And you don't have to worry about your hair. Just throw that cowboy hat
No,
on.
yeah.
Every bride looks beautiful in a cowboy hat and boots. And then they've got the Blue Cloud Movie Ranch Tour on Sunday, April 21st. So there's just all kinds of stuff to do, like you said, Jen. There's rides, attractions. There's a trick roper, of course, that's going to be out there. The new Buffalo Soldiers. You mentioned the blacksmiths. There's Sutler's Row. All kinds of amazing food. and beverage. The Santa Clarita Valley History Center is going to be open. There's a barnyard. I think the folks
Yeah,
from
I just
Carousel
saw
Ranch,
that.
or
Yeah,
not
that's really cool.
Carousel Ranch,
Gilchrist Farms.
Gilchrist
Yeah.
Farms are going to be out there. You can get your wanted poster made. Again, bring the entire family out. It's going to be an absolutely fabulous event. Again, the Cowboy Festival of the city of Santa Clarita, cowboyfestival.org for tickets and more information. We're going to get out because we've got your assembly member coming up. I am Matt Watson, and this is your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, your host, and you are listening to SCVI and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. We are coming to you live from the center of Main Street here in beautiful downtown Newhall, and we are very honored this morning. My next guest is Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo. She was elected to the California State Assembly in November of 2022 to represent the 40th Assembly District, representing the Northwest San Fernando Valley and the Santa Clarita Valley. Prior to her election, Assemblywoman Schiavo was a small business owner and nurse advocate who worked in the labor movement for more than 20 years on issues that deeply impact people's lives. She herself is the daughter of small business owners. Her father, who was a logger, became an electrician after 2 battles with cancer following exposure to Agent Orange while serving in the military. And her mom was a bookkeeper and managed the family electrical business. When her dad got a union job, Pilar saw the life-changing impacts it had on her family. It is that formative experience, along with her desire to help children and families, that led her to the labor movement, where she fought to lift up families just like hers. Assemblywoman Schiavo lives in Chatsworth with her daughter Sophia, where they love to hike in the Santa Susana Mountains. She has been involved in the PTA of her daughter's neighborhood public school. Her stepdaughter, Germany, graduated from Granada Hills Charter High School, whoop whoop for charters, and now is a senior in college studying business administration, although I think we may need to update that a little bit. Assemblywoman Schiavo, good morning and welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I think this bio might be a few months old. Is your stepdaughter, has she graduated now, or is she still working on that business degree?
She's in a combo senior master's. It's all kind of combined together. So she's still working on it, but she's going to have her master's now when she gets out, which is exciting.
That's amazing
Yeah.
what they're doing these days, that you can get a bachelor's and a master's, like one and the same, and they do the same thing for teachers. Anyways, let's get right to the amazing work that you're doing in Sacramento, because I know once you arrived in Sacramento after being elected, you did not waste any time. You got right to work, you got appointed to some pretty prestigious positions, and you haven't slowed down over the last year and a half or so. So what are some of the things that you've accomplished during your term in the Assembly that you're particularly proud of?
Well, anyone who talks to us knows that we focus on the 3 H's. We talk about it all the time. So really the big focus of our policy work and the work that we're doing in the community is around addressing our homelessness crisis, our housing crisis and housing affordability crisis, and healthcare and affordability and access. So those are the 3: housing, homelessness, and healthcare are the 3 H's that we're really focusing on. And we were really excited to have some great wins on that front. Last year, we were able to get bills signed by the governor to streamline the process to get more affordable housing online and to people more quickly and remove red tape at the state level. We passed bills to make sure that that healthcare is more affordable and accessible through electronic signatures, so people can share their information, access their information, and get the care that they need more quickly. And we bring it into the 21st century. And we also were able to do a bill that actually ended up turning into a part of the budget that reduced the cost of healthcare for over 650,000 people in California. And it's those folks who are caught in the middle, who, lower income folks, they get a lot of subsidies. They're able to access the care they need. And higher income folks obviously can afford to pay for the insurance and the coverage they need. But people in the middle are often kind of stuck paying really high deductibles, really high copays, really high premiums. And so they're paying for this insurance they can't actually afford to use. It doesn't kick in until they meet their deductible, things like that. And so dollars that had been promised to help bring the cost of insurance down had been going to the general fund from the individual mandate. And so those dollars now are going to help bring the cost down for people who have been struggling most to be able to afford health care, which I'm really proud of. So we're really thrilled about the progress that we have. And in addition to bills that we did, we also had a historic investment in our district of $20 million back to organizations doing this kind of critical work in our community. We've never, as an assembly district, had that kind of investment from the state before, and we fought really hard because we've been left behind for so many years. And so we, invested in school safety and wellness centers, which I think we're going to talk about, and homelessness and healthcare services in Santa Clarita, dental for low-income folks. So a number of things in the child and family centers, which supports families experiencing domestic violence.
We just spoke with them last break. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So they're amazing, and we're really happy we could support the work they're doing. So we're really proud of that. We secured a VSO, which is the person who helps connect veterans with the VA and the services they need. As you mentioned, my dad is now fighting cancer actually for the third time, and it is the VA that saved his life every single time. And I know how important that is for our veterans to have access to that. So we were really proud that, that's been something people have been fighting for years, and we were able to get it in a matter of days. And I'm really proud to chair the veteran, military and veteran affairs committee. So work a lot in the veteran affairs space as well. So we've been really busy, and we're really proud of it. And then the last thing that I'll mention is that, it's really important for us to bring the power of Sacramento back to our district. And one of the ways that we do that is through the casework in our office. And we've actually been able to put $820,000 back into the pockets of constituents in our district through our casework, through helping people move along, unemployment claims that have been stalled, or issues with the tax board or the DMV. And so if folks are, struggling with any state agencies, our office is always a resource. And we've been able to get, I think one person, we got $18,000 for them alone. So I know, people's pocketbooks are stretched right now, and we are trying in every way and to pull every lever we have to be able to support folks, help them out, and make sure, that we can lessen the burden that everybody's experiencing right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know that too many folks know that they can do that when they're, because it can be a struggle sometimes working with the government when you need something.
Right.
But yeah, depending on what level of government you need, reach out to your congressman, reach out to your state senator, reach out to your Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo, and her team is really hard at work every single day and can help you out. Gosh, really politically savvy. You went to Sacramento and took on some of the really easy issues like homelessness, housing costs, and health care. I joke,
Right.
of course. These are some incredibly huge challenges in our community and across the country. But and you've gotten quite a few bills.
There's no point in doing it if you're not going to try and make a real impact.
There you go. If it's easy, it's probably not worth it. There you go.
That's right.
So, and you've also introduced a few bills recently that have the potential to be of tremendous impact. So I just kind of want to rattle them off and have you explain to our listeners a little bit about what these bills would accomplish. Let's start with AB 2943. This is a comprehensive legislative package aimed at curtailing the surge in retail crimes. So this is something that's been in the news a lot lately. Can you talk about AB 2943?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was very honored to be appointed by the speaker and included on the select committee on retail theft, which is a special committee that was pulled together starting last fall, to really look at the increase in retail theft, especially around organized crime and retail theft. Those are those big smash and grabs that people see with groups of people. Those are actually part of organized crime rings. It's not just random folks going in there. And so we really wanted to dial down on, what is the issue? What are real solutions that'll make an impact? And how do we really address this, right? And make sure that our communities feel safe. And so this bill 2943 is a big step to do that, I think. And it's actually part of a larger package, all of which, that package of, I think, 6 or 7 bills, all passed public safety last week. And I'm a co-author on a couple other bills as well. But this bill is really comprehensive, and I think it addresses a lot of the concerns that I hear from our community as well. People feel like you can, if you steal under $950 from Prop 47, then nothing happens.
Right.
It is a misdemeanor; you can still be charged. That's not exactly right, but it's harder, and there's bigger barriers, right? And so, excuse me. One of the things that we do in this bill is allow for the multiple thefts to be aggregated. So if you are involved in doing multiple thefts, you can aggregate and add all of the costs of those thefts together to get a higher amount and a more serious charge, and be held accountable at a higher level. If it really, if there's, basically we're trying to get to people who are serious serial shoplifters.
Right.
This isn't kind of a one-time thing, but this is something that they're doing on a regular basis, and we want to make sure that that's considered and accounted for. Another challenge is we want to make sure, and especially when you're talking about, the organized crime side of this work, is that if there's not demand, they're not going to be doing it. And so we have to clamp down on the demand side and make sure that online retailers have higher standards and can show a chain of ownership, right? That you have receipts for the things that you're selling online.
Oh, I see.
Simple things like that.
Yeah. Very important.
So we kind of tackle that. It's called fencing, or the selling online in this bill too. And then the third thing that I think is really important in this bill is it gives police and law enforcement more tools that they need to be able to hold people accountable. So they can now arrest people for shoplifting based on sworn statements from a witness or video footage or alleged violations. And so, in the past or currently, basically police kind of have to catch people in the act and are not able to charge people based on these other things. So this allows us to kind of make sure that they're able to, when you're able to clearly identify someone through video footage, right, you should be able to use that. And so we think that this really goes a long way to address the concerns, and is really going to make a difference in tackling the issue of retail theft, along with this other package of bills that do a number of additional things too. So I feel very optimistic. I feel like, there's bipartisan support. There's support from both the Assembly, the Attorney General, who has a task force on retail theft that's been really effective, and the Senate, and the governor's been calling for solutions too. So I feel like there's a real good chance that we're able to get this across the finish line.
That is fantastic because, crime, as you know, has gotten out of control in recent years, and we appreciate you doing your part to reel it back in and prosecute folks that need prosecution. Now, this next one goes to one of those priorities that you were talking about, one of your 3 H's. AB 2674. I believe this is going to encourage private sector investment in affordable housing with units specifically for, and how wonderful, units specifically for foster youth and low-income families. Tell us about AB 2674.
Yeah, this I'm very excited about. It's a really great bill, and we have incredible partners who work in the foster youth housing space for this. And this is really, it's actually a budget positive bill, which in this current budget crisis of having a multi-billion-dollar deficit is an exciting solution to bring to the table. And it really is a way to allow for more investment and people to feel safe about investment. Sometimes the investment in foster housing or in low-income housing, investors feel a little bit like that's a risky investment.
Risky, yeah.
And so by the state bank or the state being able to insure those loans, which hardly ever default basically and are very successful, then it gives a little additional backing to those kinds of investments and encourages independent and private investment into housing for foster youth who, that is one of the areas where our homeless community or homelessness crisis is growing, right, as amongst
Yeah.
foster youth. And so we need to make sure that kids who are aging out of the foster system, those 18 to 24-year-olds, are getting tracked into housing, and we're creating as much housing as possible. And also just having housing at affordable prices, right? A lot of people who are working service sector jobs and Starbucks or, wherever it may be, are having a hard time finding housing that they can afford. And we need to make sure that we're not just building any housing, but we're building housing that people can afford in our communities.
Yeah, definitely, and that hits another one of your H's. So fantastic! That is great news. Now, this one, as a teacher, really raised my eyebrow. This is really interesting. Tell me about AB 2999 homework best practices. Tell me what you're doing here.
Oh, this is I call it my baby bill. This is my baby.
Oh.
I love this bill. It actually was my daughter's idea, who, when I was running for office a couple years ago, her and her friend were in the back seat one day, and they're like, could you ban homework?
Yes.
To get elected?
Okay,
And,
I'm a career educator. I've been in teaching for almost 30 years. I am behind Sophia on this one. Let's do it.
Oh my goodness. That is music to my ears. I have barely run into a teacher who likes homework, honestly. I have been talking to teachers for a year because I wanted to do this bill last year, but I just didn't have time with just being elected. And it required a lot of conversations, right? Homework can be a prickly issue and everybody has an opinion. But when I started looking into it, I've actually been looking into homework for a very long time, because when my daughter went to school in kindergarten, she was getting homework. She got this thick packet of homework on Monday, and it was due on Friday.
Yeah.
And, my first job out of college was early childhood development. I worked for a tribal Head Start program. And so, at that time, there was all this new brain research coming out, and it was talking about how brains develop, and play is critical. Having that downtime to play, to be creative, to interact with people through play, right? It's so important for early childhood brain development. And instead, my daughter was coming home and sitting at a table and practicing her letters, which she had been in school doing during the day, right? And so we stopped doing it. I just stopped doing it as a parent. But I know, parents feel like, oh, they're not doing the right thing if they're not having their kids do this stuff. And we're working with a professor from Dr. Diane Pope, who's a professor at Stanford, and she's actually an expert in homework. She works with school districts to reduce homework loads. And, she said something to me that really was impactful. And she said, kids are the only ones that we ask to do 3 shifts. They go to school all day, and then they often go to an after-school program if they have working parents, or they go to after-school activities. And then they come home and they sit at the table and they do homework for a few hours at night. And so, we limit work hours of adults, right? We understand that people need to have time with their family. They need to have weekend time. They have to have time to recover and downtime. They need to be able to get the sleep they need. But yet we don't really have these protections in place for kids who are working in the school setting 10, 12 hours a day sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, so this bill is a simple bill. It still protects local control. It allows school boards to develop a policy around homework, but it has them consider, what are the impacts to mental health. If your kid is not getting the sleep they need, they're not having time with their family or time to connect with friends, they're not able to, get involved in after school activities and sports and all these things that bring people a lot of joy and happiness. We have a mental health crisis right now amongst our students, and homework is the top 3 stressor for kids, and often number 1. And overnight, if we were to reduce homework, we could address stress in the majority of our kids in the state of California. I feel like this is actually one of the most impactful things we can do around kids' mental health right now. And I know a lot of schools are actually going in this direction. We have the teacher of the year who is from Valencia High School in our district, which is so exciting. And he shared with me that it's Mr. Suni. He shared with me that in his English department, where he was the chair of the department, during COVID, they eliminated homework. And they felt like they needed to be working smarter and not harder. And in those 2 following years, their test scores actually went up.
Yes.
And so there's research after research shows that more homework doesn't actually mean better learning. It doesn't mean better test scores. And it creates a lot of stress. And so I think it's time for us to be intentional about homework, to look at the research, and to start a conversation that, maybe we need to do things a little differently.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with meaningful homework, but I think the
Right,
misnomer oftentimes is, we talk about how kids need to be playing more, and they do, but parents are concerned about their children learning at the right pace. But those
right.
two are not opposites. Play
Mm-hmm.
is actually learning. It's real world experimentation,
Mm-hmm.
simulation. It's very, very important in the learning and education of kids. Pilar, I'm going to step aside from our interview real quick, and I want to invite you up to our school. I lead Agua Dulce. Our director up there, Lisa Latimer, I believe, is on the board of the National Play-Based Learning Organization, and they're doing some
Oh,
amazing things with their outdoor classroom, and so you and I could nerd out on this for hours and hours and hours. So
oh, I would love that.
we will
I would
get to
love that.
that in a little bit. We're talking this morning with your Assemblywoman, Pilar Schiavo. She's got so much in the works in Sacramento. When we get back, we're going to talk about a few more important issues. I want to continue to talk a little bit more about education, but also about Chiquita Canyon. That seems to be on everybody's minds
Mm.
lately here in Santa Clarita. We're going to take a quick break, so stick around. I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVI and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. I am joined this morning by the Honorable Pilar Schiavo. She is the 40th District Assemblywoman and representing the Northwest San Fernando Valley and Santa Clarita Valley. We've talked a lot about her priorities in Sacramento and the different bills that she's been able to get passed during this first year and a half to 2 years, her first term, and several of the bills that she's proposing and the things that they'll tackle. You can catch up on those on the podcast on your hometownstation.com. But Pilar, I wanted to ask you about something that seems to be on everybody's mind lately. It's been in the news. We've been seeing a lot of community town halls and things like that to talk about Chiquita Canyon. And I've noticed the smell from Chiquita Canyon like I've never noticed it before. And I work right there. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on? Give us an update on Chiquita Canyon. What's happening? What's the risk? And what's being done to keep people safe?
Yes. It's a terrible situation. I will just start with that. It is
Okay.
really, really terrible. It's really impacting neighbors, and people are having real health impacts. And as, a nurse advocate, former nurse advocate, and someone who's worked in healthcare for many years, that is a great, great concern for me, and why we've been treating this like a crisis for many, many months now. So basically what's happened is there's a chemical reaction essentially that's happened deep in the old part of the landfill. So this is part of the landfill that has been filled up. It's already closed. They're not using it anymore. But, because of, pressure as it's decomposing, because of rain and liquids mixing around, because of chemicals that are in all of the things that we throw into landfills, there was essentially a chemical reaction that created a smoldering event, as they call it. But the smoldering event is 140, 160, 180 degrees, basically low grade burn that is happening inside of the landfill. And it's what's creating the additional odor and chemicals that are going into the air that are really impacting the neighborhood and really a great concern. It also is creating what's called leachate, which is essentially liquid with those chemicals in it. And that is kind of turning into fuel for that fire, right? So it's creating something that's fueling itself at the same time,
Wow.
which is making it complicated, right? Yeah. And I have some real bad news. What I've learned through this process is it's not a quick solution, but this is, in the few instances where this has happened around the country, it can burn for years. This is something that is very difficult to get out, but what you can do is mitigate it and reduce it significantly. And so the problem is right now it's a little bit unwieldy and not in control. And so all of the work that is happening, and state agencies have been really on top of this, is to get it under control now. So there's two main ways that we can do that, which are both in process at the landfill. One of them is covering that area of the landfill to reduce the gases that are being released. And that's going to go a long way to reduce the smell in the neighborhood and the chemicals that are being released into the air. And it will capture that. It will also help to reduce those gases from feeding the smolder and the burn.
All right.
The other piece is they're installing a number of wells that both take out the gas. They're kind of two-pronged. And so they take out the gas and they take out the leachate. We just posted a video if people want to look at it. It's on our social media, and I took a lot of pictures. We went and toured the landfill and got a sense of the work that's happening. And so there's images of all of the things I'm talking about there. If they go to Pilar, our website or our social media, and our YouTube channel. But anyway, so those are the things that are happening right now to address it. And they're trying to take out as much of that leachate, that liquid that's kind of fueling it, as possible, as quickly as possible. You know, there's been challenges and bumps along the way, right? Some of the levels of chemicals in that leachate are too high for some of our water processing centers. So they've had to store it on site. You'll see pictures in the videos if people go look of huge tanks that are holding it. They have, 100 or more tanks on site that are holding it where they're treating it so that they can then truck it out to water treatment centers where it can be further treated. And then there are a number of water treatment centers that just are at maximum capacity and can't take it. So it's slowed down the ability to move leachate out and take it out as quickly as we would like to. So there's a lot of work to help address that right now, and state agencies are helping with that. We have, state agencies are taking it so seriously, and the federal EPA is overseeing the whole team of agencies, but now they're on site. So there is a MAC team, it's called, that is on site at the location at Chiquita Canyon, working directly with the operators every day and having weekly meetings about what's happened in the last week, what's happening in the next week, and really making sure that things are on track. Right now they are covering, I think they've covered 11 acres of the landfill, the area that's impacted, and they have 29 more to go. So they were hoping to be done by the end of this month, but because of rain and because of additional calculations they needed to make and related to safety of the slope, it delayed it a little bit. So I think it's probably going to go into the beginning of May now. But hopefully, once that's completed within the next couple of weeks, that's going to make a big impact. And then more leachate is going out now than even when I toured it a couple of weeks ago, which is encouraging. So while it's a terrible situation and neighbors have really been suffering, we are hoping that within a matter of weeks that there is a noticeable difference for people, and that we're able to really address some of the immediate concerns and impacts. I mean, people haven't been able to open their windows for a year. I mean, it's just, they feel like prisoners in their own homes. It's a really terrible, terrible situation. They're getting headaches and nosebleeds, and pets are dying. I mean, it's a serious situation. That's one of the reasons that I called for an emergency declaration by the governor, which we have not heard back yet. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I mean, I think one of the areas that could be really helpful is relocation, which the company is also doing. There's been some concerns from the community about whether or not they feel comfortable going through that process with the company. But we're waiting to hear back and know that a lot of the concerns are being addressed through the current actions that they're taking. And so, they have to do a full assessment of whether or not that's going to be done. But we did that. And then also I signed on to another one that was requested by the Congress member and a bipartisan letter that we sent as well. So we're hoping and still pushing for that to happen, and really keeping the pressure on the operator to make sure that they're doing everything in their power and working as quickly as possible to address the concerns. But this is
Yikes.
it's going to be a long-term solution, and I want to be honest with people. It's a terrible situation. It's really unfortunate. And we're gonna have to keep an eye on it for a long time.
Yeah, check out your Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo on YouTube and social media for updates on Chiquita Canyon and all of the other relevant topics in and around our community. Now, Pilar, I understand you're also hosting an event. Not attending an event, you're hosting an event at College of
Mm-hmm.
the Canyons here on May 4th, day before Taste of the Town, by the way. This is the Youth and Family Festival. Can you talk to us about the festival? What is the purpose of this event, and what can folks expect if they are able to attend?
So we just really wanted to bring families together for a free event, for a chance of, we were talking about on my homework bill. It's really important to have family time, right? It's really
Yeah.
important to connect with people. And this is an opportunity to do that, to have a lot of fun activities and also get connected up with local resources that can help them in their daily lives. So we'll have tons of fun things to do. We'll have a petting zoo for kids, story time, yoga, drum circle, arts and crafts, face paint, inflatable slides, a butterfly encounter,
Oh boy.
butter making, panning for gold. There's going to be all kinds of cool stuff. And then parents can do wellness workshops and all kinds of different things for parents as well. So we're super excited about it. It's going to be a ton of fun, and we hope people will come join this fun event on the 4th, and it's from 12 to 4.
Fantastic. 12 to 4, May 4th at College of the Canyons. For more information, you can go to Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo's website, and then you just click on district and upcoming events. Makes sense. And all the information is right there. You got a QR code that folks can scan to register. So that'll be fantastic. Pilar, you mentioned before the commercial break the work that you're doing to get some of our taxpayer funds funneled back into our community to meet some of the needs that we have here in Santa Clarita and the North San Fernando Valley area. You were recently honored, in fact, by the Heart District with one of their One Heart Awards. I thought that was a really cool honor. But this came in conjunction with you presenting the district with a check for $123,000 to be used for wellness centers on their different campuses throughout the district. And these are intended to try to improve students' mental health. Can you talk to me about these wellness centers and why they're so important for you and your team?
Yes. I was so excited that we could help support these at every single school in the Heart School District to help support creating wellness centers. As I mentioned earlier, we know that there is a mental health crisis amongst our students, and these wellness centers have really been a much needed resource for students when they're in crisis, when they need support, when they just need to decompress, from something that may have happened in school or something that's bringing them a lot of stress. And so these wellness centers are a way to connect up with the social worker or mental health worker at their school. They're an opportunity to get more resources that they may need. And it's just an opportunity to get that support that they need in the moment. So, we were really proud to be able to bring, as part of that $20 million investment we got in our district, the dollars that were needed to the Heart School District to create those wellness centers at every single one of the schools around the district, and make sure that those are there for those students who really need it and need that support, and support healthy and happy learning environments for all of our kids.
That is fantastic. Another thing that you mentioned is all the great services that the team in your office, both in Sacramento and here in the district, are able to provide your constituents. A lot of folks don't realize that your locally elected officials can help you out with a lot of different things. So can you share just how folks would go about getting in touch with your office if they need support, if they need service?
Yes. Please reach out to our office if you need help with any state agencies like the Tax Franchise Board, or EDD for unemployment unemployment claims. And even the DMV, we've been able to get fees waived, when people are really underwater with the DMV, and help people out there. So there's lots of ways in which we can help those wheels turn. And sometimes, just a call from the assembly member's office can help things that are at the bottom of the pile rise to the top. So, so give us a call. Our number is 661-286-1565, 661-286-1565, or you can go to our website at a40.asmdc.org, or you can just Google Pilar Schiavo Assemblywoman and it'll pop up.
Yeah.
And you can get in touch with our office either online or go on the phone, or you can just go on in and say hello. We're on Turney Road, 27441 Turney Road, Suite 240. And we have amazing staff in our district office. They are incredible. And, because of them, we've been able to put over $800,000 back in the pockets of people in our community. And we're trying to get to that million as soon as we can. So help us out, help you out, and we'll all win.
All righty. Well, if you need somebody to help you get to that million mark, I'm your guy. I don't know how, but hey, I'll give Andrea a call. She's fantastic.
Right.
Again, it's 661-286-1565, 286-1565, or just Google Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo. It's going to be that first hit on the on Google, and her office is there to serve you. That's what they do. Right. Assemblywoman Schiavo, I have one more question for you. Do you have any siblings by chance?
I have two. I live with one of them in Sacramento when I'm up here for the week while I'm working in Sacramento.
Gosh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I've got one, and Mom won't let me have nice things of my own, and so she makes me bring my stupid brother onto the radio show every week. And so I've got quite a few more questions I'd like to ask you, but Mom's texting, and she's asking, when are we getting to Big T? So he's got some trivia questions, and he likes to call in and play around with Engineer Jen and I. Do you have a few more minutes? Can you stick around and horse around with my brother and I?
Of course, I would love to.
All right, that'll be fantastic. You stick around. Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame are coming up with Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo. It's going to be tons of fun. Always got the potential to be a little bit of a train wreck, so don't go away. This is SCVI, and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson, and this is your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI, and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm your host, Matt Watson, and I'm joined this morning by Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo, representing the 40th Assembly District here in California. That is the northwest San Fernando Valley area, as well as all of Santa Clarita. Assemblywoman Schiavo, we appreciate you joining us this morning. I mentioned my stupid brother before we went on break, and he can be a little bit emotional, and I think he might have hung up on us. So, Big T, if you can hear us, call back. I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean it. I just, it was a radio bit, Tony, and I was just kidding. And boy, am I going to hear it from Mom. So, want to make sure, have we still got Assemblywoman Schiavo on the line? Is she still there?
I'm here.
All right, fantastic. My brother, he can be a little bit quick with the emotions, and I think he got a little bit hurt about that quip about his name, about his, my stupid brother, but we're trying to get him back.
Aww.
Yeah. You mentioned that you stay. You mentioned that you stay with your brother up in Sacramento when you're up there, so you get to spend a lot of time with him.
I know. My big stupid brother, actually my little stupid brother, he's the sweetest. He cooks for us and takes care of us, and his wife is, my sister-in-law is actually a middle school science teacher.
God bless her, middle school.
A lot about my homework bill.
There you go. Is she on board with it?
She is. She actually, since we started our conversations about it a year ago, and she's stopped giving homework this last year. And she's started having a lot of conversations with her students about how much homework they're getting. And she was really surprised to hear how much, homework other other teachers were giving her students. And so now she even gives 5 or 10 minutes at the end of class a lot of times for them to work on other homework. So she's really made a turnaround. She feels like, sometimes kids might have homework. If they don't finish their in-class work, they might have to take that home. But for the most part, if they do what they need to do, they can get their work done in her class, and she's seen it make a difference.
Assemblywoman Schiavo, I want to apologize to you. We're having some technical issues with the phone. Tony's actually not that sensitive of a guy. What we need to do is, in order to get you both on at the same time, we need to clear the lines really quickly. Is it possible to have you just hang up and call back real quick?
Of course.
Okay, we'll talk to you in just 2 seconds.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Alrighty, so we're going to have Big T call in. Big T, if you're listening, please give us a call back. Assemblywoman Schiavo is going to call back, and we'll see if we've got a few minutes to play. We've had a great show this morning, though. We spoke in the first hour with the CEO of the Child and Family Center, Nikki Buckstead, for over 40 years. As a matter of fact, since 1976. That's coming up on 50 years of service by the Child and Family Center here in the Valley, providing mental health support, support with addiction, domestic violence, providing such tremendous service to those of us here in Santa Clarita. Again, Child and Family Center, their website is childfamilycenter.org. Check them out if you need services. They've got a great event coming up here in just a couple of weeks on May 5th. They've got their annual Taste of the Town event. If you've never been to Taste on the Town, it is an absolutely incredible event. They have over 40 exhibitors coming out to provide samples from their restaurants, breweries, and wineries from around town. That's right. Here in Santa Clarita, y'all know we've got some of the best restaurants around, and they're going to be there providing samples of their food absolutely for free, something that Frogger and Big T can totally get on board with. They've got, not just one sample and then you're done. You can check out as much as you want there at the.
Good morning.
Well, hey, there's Big T. I didn't hurt your feelings, did I, brother?
No, not much.
All right, fantastic. It sounds like we've got the Assemblywoman back as well. Pilar, thanks for your patience.
Of course, no problem.
All right, I'm going to skip the big.
Good morning.
I'm going to skip the big introduction, and we're going to get right to playing around. Assemblywoman, Tony's got some trivia questions for us, and so he's going to throw out the question. And what we do is, before you shout out the answer, you've got to hit your buzzer, and then Tony will recognize you, and then you can give your answer. Did you get the buzzer we sent you?
I don't have a buzzer.
Oh no!
Maybe I can press a button on my phone. That sounds like a
Actually,
tone.
here's what your buzzer is. It's just your name. Just shout out your name. And so what we're gonna do, I like to be at a significant advantage. So for the purposes of the game, I'm gonna be Frogger. And when you shout out your name, you're gonna need to shout out the Honorable Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo.
Oh my goodness.
Or maybe just Pilar. Does that work?
Pilar.
Okay,
yes.
cool. And we've got engineer Jen here who's going to be playing along. Tony, what have you got for us?
All righty, we'll jump right into it. But since you kept me on hold for a while, you missed all the good stuff.
Oh, bummer.
All righty. What's the name of the thin, long country that spans more than half of the western coast of South America?
Jen.
Oh,
Jen.
Chile.
Oh, Pilar. Yeah.
I think Jen got it correct with Chile.
there we go.
Good job.
What American state is the largest by area?
Pilar.
Pilar?
Alaska.
Alaska is
There it
correct.
is.
Pilar's on the board.
I almost went
The
with
Grand
Texas.
Canyon in Arizona was carved by which river?
Frogger.
Oh,
Frogger.
That's the Colorado River.
Colorado River is correct. Which S is a deadly sin and a tree-dwelling animal?
Oh, Frogger.
Frogger.
Sloth.
Hey, when in doubt, just go with the capybara.
There we go.
Which is the only bird that can swim but can't fly?
Oh.
Pilar.
Pilar.
Duck. Is it a duck?
Not a duck.
Frogger.
Frogger.
I think it's a penguin.
Penguin is correct.
It's fun to watch him try to
Okay.
fly, though.
Frogger gets that one because he knows how to walk like one. Which two countries share the longest international border?
Oh. Frogger. Frogger?
Frogger.
Is it the U.S. and Canada?
That is correct. Nice pull, Frogger.
All right.
What reptiles camouflage themselves by changing colors?
I can't think of their name.
Yeah, neither can I, but their eyeballs
Their
do
eyeballs
the
go
weird
weird.
thing. Frogger.
Frogger.
Chameleon.
Yes.
Chameleons is correct.
You know, I have a chameleon that can't change colors. It's got an issue, but we'll talk about that off the air.
What type of leaves does a koala feed on?
Ooh, Pilar.
Pilar.
Oh,
Eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus is correct. Nice
there we
pull.
go. Give it a Halls.
Which bird is traditionally depicted delivering newborn babies?
Jen.
Jen?
A stork.
Stork is correct.
Good pull. I was thinking ostrich. That would be awkward. We've only got time for one more, Tony.
All right. What's the fastest land animal?
Jen.
Jen.
A cheetah.
It is cheetah, and Jen is apparently second on that buzzer.
Yes, there we go. Fantastic. Pilar, sorry we couldn't play for longer, but you've been so gracious and sticking around with us. Thank you so much. I want to thank our guests, CEO of the Child and Family Center of Santa Clarita, Nikki Buxted, Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo, producer Sarah, engineer Jen, engineer Andrew, Big T, and thank you for listening. And don't forget to catch the City of Santa Clarita's Cowboy Festival all weekend long. Remember, friends, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well and do good. Join us again next week and every Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVI, and I lead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.